Right, it is,
What, one that should be on the record or off?
11:40, quorum being present, board will come to order. The first order of business is selection of polling places to be audited prior to certification.
Okay, so. just
How
draw
many of
one.
these do we have to draw?
7.
Each draws 7?
No, 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you gonna have Mary Ann draw too?
Okay.
Are you gonna draw 2?
oh,
Well,
Like, keep this or hand it to you.
And they're not
or
supposed to look
is
at them,
party
right?
matter?
So write in the envelope? I doubt
You're
it.
not supposed to
Okay.
look at them?
No.
Put them in the envelope.
It's not like you're seeing what you're selecting.
I understand.
don't have my glasses on,
I
I
just
can't
wouldn't
see
want
anyway.
Yeah,
the
we
side
don't-
to,
we
That's
to
fair.
say, oh,
That's
we missed
fair.
our chance to pick randomly.
That's fair.
we're not supposed to look.
Oh, I forgot this one.
Huh?
I forgot that.
Oh, yeah. All right. There's nothing else we have to do with the
No.
precinct selection. Next is the election of officers for the Board of Canvassers. That would be the chair and the secretary, correct?
Correct, and what typically has been the tradition here is the president of the board serves as the chair of the Board of Canvassers, so is there a motion?
I'd like to move that Nahid be the, temporary stand-in for Nancy.
Okay, why don't we get into that one?
Yeah,
We'll-
let's
if
do
it-
the Oh, that's not it?
That's it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought the
I
chairman.
move we appoint,
I second.
Mayor.
Okay.
All
Carry.
in favor?
Can we have the actual motion?
I move Miss Mary Ann Cave to be the chair of this canvas.
I thought that
I
was
second.
natural, done.
Next.
Do I
Aye.
Are there other nominations? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Uh,
Jackie, do you have a motion on the secretary?
Yes, I move that Nahid be the secretary for this, till Nancy returns,
Canvas.
for the canvas.
Second.
Any other nominations?
Can I have clarification on that, please?
Either one. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
Kevin, clarification, please. Jackie's motion was that Nahid serve as secretary until Nancy returns. Is that implied that when Nancy returns, she would be secretary? And does that wording need to be in the motion?
I would think we would need to have a vote to do that, right?
That's
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah, let's, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
So the current motion means that Nahid would serve as the secretary,
Correct.
and then we would cross that bridge.
Until
Correct.
Nancy returns, and if
Yeah.
Nancy returns,
Yeah.
if she returns before the canvas is over, we cross that bridge at that time.
Correct.
Okay.
But I just don't, I don't know anything about her condition. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have an update on Election Day activities. Why don't we start with asking staff if there are activities, instances, et cetera, that we should know about, and then we can go around and get the board members.
Well, from what we can tell, all the polling places, reported that they opened on time. And aside from that, we've received, some reports of voting units having, the vote flipping, but when we've sent our IT staff out there, they have not been able to confirm that. There have been instances when the chief judges have made the decision on their own just to close the unit. They don't think they need it, and so if there's a question, they've just closed it. I only know of one instance, but there is that one instance. Then we had these, we're not required to do this, but the laminated sample ballots in legislative district 16, inadvertently left off a candidate, Susan Lee.
No, no.
Rosalie.
Rosalie, I'm
Rosalie.
sorry, not Susan.
Yeah.
Rosalie. We pulled these laminated ballots, as soon as we found out.
When you said the
Contact-
laminated ballots, are they not the same ones that
It's
are mailed to
this,
people?
David. I've not seen this before, but these were now provided at every polling place.
So, it's not the same thing that's sent to people in the mail?
No,
No,
no.
no.
These were made by us,
This was made for us because, the sample ballots that we were sending, that we create, that we mail, just fall apart after the first hour. So we were looking for something. We did send them out in the 2012 election, and we did send them out in the primary election. Unfortunately, there was a staff error.
What was Ms. Lee running for?
Delegate
Yep.
for District
16,
House of
yeah.
Delegate.
Oh, okay.
So, we told the judges in those precincts that, they should use the old newspaper style sample ballot.
And in fact, I encountered a campaign worker at one of the polls who was quite incensed by it.
I'm sure.
And then I found out that all the precincts affected were being called, and this was being polled. And I was actually at a polling place when the call came in, and I got the call because it was sort of hectic and the phone was ringing, and so as far as I could tell. And I was still at that precinct where the person had talked to me about it, and I told her that in fact they were calling, and I received a call for there. So she seemed very grateful and calmed down on it.
And we checked, the balance of the precincts, and everything else is there. We did receive one report, and I'm not really sure where it came from, that Richard Mano said his name was not on the legislative district 19, I think.
You mean,
On
Roger Mano.
Roger Mano.
Sorry.
on the laminated?
Yeah, but we checked, his name is there on every ballot style.
Okay.
So that's not true.
I think that was some sort of an independent.
Yeah,
something
there
that went
is
out.
a Democratic sample ballot that left some candidates off that we did, and I'm not even sure. There was an article in the paper that somebody brought up that supposedly dropped candidates.
not the party ballot?
Well, I don't know, but,
Yeah, I heard
there was a
something to that
newspaper
effect.
in the
article
15th.
that
In the
somebody brought
15th.
up. So I just, so I don't know what Mr. Mann
They
was
didn't
talking.
include all the races, if that would be the issue. I noticed it didn't
didn't
include the
do
congressional races.
Sorry.
They didn't do any
He's not on
locals.
this.
Oh, he did
Pardon me?
60.
Any locals, they only did state and,
So I
national.
guess they're both.
I-
Was
I mean,
there a
state,
list
they
of
did not do
write-in?
like Board of Elections.
Was there a list of
They did
write-in
nothing below
candidates?
copy.
One of the people outside asked me for a list of write-in, or the judge, I can't remember who it was. They said, we don't have the list of write-in
Yes,
candidates.
they do.
And I said,
It was handed to them.
I don't know
We-
what you're talking about.
The candidates have up until, the 30th to file a write-in as a write-in candidate. And we created a list, and it was handed to them in a manila envelope when they picked up their supplies. And we told them, this is your write-in list, post it. And last night when I was checking my precincts, cause I had the Silver Spring area, every polling place had posted, so they just did not look carefully.
Jackie, do you remember which polling place it was?
No, I'll think back over it. I might have, well, it was one of the last two, which was either Bethesda or, might have been Lynbrook. which I
But if you
definitely
tell
wanna
me,
talk
we
about
can send
Lynbrook.
another list down there.
When we have a moment, can we go back to the first item you
That
reported
I
on
was-
about the voting units?
I was getting ready to ask the same
Yeah.
question.
Go back to what, David?
Margaret reported that there were some reports of voting units having vote
Oh.
flipping.
I
I
wanted
wanna make
to
sure I understand what you mean by vote flipping and how many some.
And where?
You know, we've only gotten one.
One.
One location at Hoover, Wooten High School. That was the only one. The rest of them,
But
I'm,
when you say vote flipping, you mean that the summary shows something different
Nope.
than what the candidates were?
nope, that's
so-
not what it is.
So what do you mean?
So vote flipping means that they go in and let's say it's Peter Francho and someone else. Give me that thing, I can't even remember it. I'm sorry. I look at the names. William Campbell. So they attempt to touch William Campbell and Peter Francho is, the X appears. So our instruction, the state's instruction is you touch Mr. Francho, deselect the X, and then touch William Campbell. That's what vote flipping is called.
So
The
you-
summary
so
screen
you press one, but the other one gets indicated.
yeah, well, you think you've touched Mr. Campbell.
I understand, I mean, but that's the allegation, is that someone is
Mhm.
pressing one button, a different one shows up.
And when we
Yeah.
have, in early voting, when we asked all of the voters, did the summary screen reflect your choices? Every one of them said yes.
Okay, but then, but the reports we're talking about is the one example from Wooten High School. Do we have other indications of
Yeah.
problems with the machines?
Yeah,
No,
Thomas Elementary.
not that's coming to us.
Well,
Kevin knows that. Kevin,
can
yeah.
add, because we did get a gentleman came out of Potomac Elementary School. Now, you were there.
It was two gentlemen actually. They said unit 1 and number 8. But they did not tell the judges what problem. They went outside and told the who people were minding the table. They said they pushed for one and something else came. And they did it 2-3 times. Finally they resolved the problem. Two of them, both of them were there and I talked to them. And I mentioned that if that was the problem, why you didn't let the judges know this machine has this problem? They said they were not aware of, they're supposed to tell them. I said, how do we know something like that happened? You should let the judges know that's the problem.
So which location was that?
Potomac
Elementary
Elementary.
Okay. We have, I mean, we've only had the one that we have escalated to the point where we sent a staff member out to go evaluate and deal with it. I mean, we've had, overall, just on the election judge side, we received over 900 calls into the call center, and some percentage of those are people trying to figure out how to deal with the voter comments, you know, the concerns. So I do not have a tally, but we certainly have had a number of calls from a number of polling places, a number of roamers trying to figure out how to deal with these situations, these discussions with voters. I have not received any, other than that one that we sent a staff member out to investigate. I have not personally received any reports at this point that anybody's feels like they've got a, you know, a legit issue that
No.
is a candidate wrong. Oh, I did have one where the roamer felt that there could be a legitimate screen calibration issue when they decided to take it out of service.
Where
I
was,
did hear of that
where
one.
was that?
I'll have to check, I've got a record of it, but I don't remember.
Now, just so we understand, there's a difference between, obviously, there are some voters who are coming to the polls having read things in the media and saying,
Right.
what about this? That's different than a voter saying, this happened to me.
Right, and
And when you say that we've had conversations about these, I wanna understand, are we saying that we've had a number of cases where voters say, this happened to me? And then when someone else looks at it, they say, they're not so sure if it did? Or are we saying that there are a number of cases where voters come in and say, I heard that this happened to other people?
mix. I mean, we've been getting, first press reports, you get voters calling us.
Right.
You know, whether it's on the rumor, whether it is because they, you know, want to report some sort of a difficulty in marking their own script. Well, it's sort of a mixture. I don't have a full report on it, cause we're still kind of, you know, we're dealing with everything on the fly in the call center. I can pull one together,
Well,
that's why we get the calls.
I can tell you, I heard it at almost every precinct.
Mhm.
And, but it didn't, excuse me?
Lunch is ready when you are ready for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The judges, the chief judges, felt that it was him, they didn't know what was causing it, thought that it could well be just the touching from the person, but, people either resolved it themselves, or they called a judge over to say, I'm pushing this and look what happens. I actually went early this morning at Parkside with Kevin, who was there, And a woman, when her summary screen came up, she said, "I didn't vote for any of these people." And so the two of us walked her back, through it type of thing. And she had in fact voted for each of them that appeared on the summary screen. So people are somewhat sensitized to the issue, perhaps because of the publicity, I don't know, but
It happens every election.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, quite frankly, anytime you use any kind of touchscreen thing, people hit it hard, they go ahead and they hit their hands in between two candidates, they have long fingernails, they drag their hands, I mean, a lot of that just naturally happens, and that's why the summary screen is important for them to
Yeah.
look at.
I'd like to know how many actual calls did we get today concerning the touchscreen?
Where people said it happened to themselves.
Yes.
You know what I will do, I'll go have somebody do a search
Thank
and try to
you.
run that, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
I should just add that at one of the Leisure World precincts, there was a voter who said that the summary screen essentially cast her vote before she had a chance to finish reading it. Now, the judge there is not sure if that's actually what happened, but the allegation at least is that the screen comes up, she starts to read it, and before she can finish, it casts her vote.
That can't happen.
You have to push.
You have to hit a button.
Yeah,
that
you
says
say
cast
submit.
ballot.
It says submit.
I'm
Yeah.
only
Okay.
reporting the news.
Yes,
I'm-
yes.
I saw the woman there, but I did not see what happened to her
Yeah.
machine. I came after it had happened.
At Gainesville
How
Elementary, there was a
how did
voter
they handle that?
who they had to go and help him out because he actually timed out.
That can
They're
happen.
gonna
Okay.
start calling
Look
other
at it.
staff.
Yeah, and then he was very
If you
upset
want.
because he said he didn't vote for some of those candidates and that he timed out. And apparently somebody had complained about the machine earlier on because, and remember when we were doing the testing, we had issues scrolling down? Remember that, when we were like when we were doing the thing, so regular folks are gonna have issues trying to figure out how to scroll
Yeah.
down, and they're like, and then how do you go back? I mean, and we had issues when we would touch a candidate and the other one would come up because you got too close to the line, so, but he insisted that he did not vote for those candidates. And then they had to reissue because he timed out and it was, but anyway, they told the roamer apparently, and he was gonna come and yeah. So I said, well, and he was being very aggressive physically with the machine, like, and people do that. They're like very aggressive. All their aggression, they take it out on the
David.
machine. But I wanted to say that last night I heard that they were, that the precincts were going to get the still pens for some people if they felt that, there was an issue that they could ask for, this is what, at Clarksburg Elementary School,
Yes, we were,
the judge actually who was in charge
They were told to use, if they
The
had a
stylus.
voter, they could use the stylus out of the EPB. We did not say we were sending.
okay, well, I'm telling you what I heard last night from the chief judge at Clarksburg Elementary, which I was like, I didn't hear that. She told them tomorrow we'll get a delivery of still pens for us then to use with our voters if they want one, if they don't feel comfortable doing the touch screen. And I said, I didn't hear, where did you get that information? We were told on Saturday. So then this morning, I talked to Allison because at Gaithersburg Elementary, since they were having these issues with the touchscreen, I said, then maybe you guys should request, because they were told to use the back pen of a pencil, but they don't get pencils with erasers. They get the little pencils, which it doesn't do anything. So I said, well, you guys can ask for a still pen. So I when I was talking, I called it in, but Allison said, no, you have to request one, and it has to come from the chief judge, and there's a protocol. So I wanna know what the protocol is.
can we pause for a moment, please?